right, today we are diving deep into the cinematic script for Proof of Hunger. And this is a story that, it feels incredibly futuristic, but it's really about the systems we build and the humanity that can get erased in the process. So let's get right into it. So the whole story kicks off with this one single question, and it is just haunting. You hear a child's voice asking it, and bam, the tone for everything is set. It tells you right away, we're not just dealing with data or resources here. We're talking about feeling, about a system so cold, so detached from being human, that a person starving is just a transaction error. Okay, so let's set the scene. Welcome to Neo-Kashi. Imagine a city that runs entirely on a blockchain. Every single resource is managed, tracked, and handed out with this perfect cold efficiency. But, and this is the big but, we're about to see that this so-called efficiency is really just a mask for something much, much darker. It's all built on a foundation of deliberate, engineered injustice. And this city, Neo-Kashi, it's a tale of two worlds, literally. Up top, you've got Sky City, a place of calculated abundance. Everything's perfectly measured, not a single calories waste. Then you look way, way down to the slums. And it's the complete opposite, a world of engineered denial. I really want you to hang on to that word, engineered. This is not some unfortunate byproduct of the economy. No, this is by design. It's a feature, not a bug. And this, right here, this just shows you the brutal, cold math behind that engineering. Just look at it. Sky City gets its full 100% allocation. The worker districts, well, they get by on 65%. And the slums, what do they get? Zero. Not 10%, not 5%. A hard-coded absolute zero. They've literally been written out of the equation for survival. So you have to ask, right? How on earth does the ruling class justify this? Well, with a logic that is just chilling. This quote is from Cairo, a big shot on the Hash Council. Someone warns him, hey, the people in the slums are going to riot. And his response is purely transactional. He basically says, let them. Rioting burns calories. He sees it as a problem that just solves itself. It's a worldview where human lives are just another variable on a spreadsheet. So this brings us to our main characters, Aru and Vera. Now at first, they think what anyone would think. There must be a food shortage or maybe some kind of glitch in the system, right? But Vera, she's a brilliant hacker. She starts digging into the code. And what she finds is, well, it's not a bug. It's something way, way more deliberate. It's a piece of code called the whitelist contract. Now, to really get what she found, you gotta understand what a whitelist is. In the world of blockchain, it's basically a gatekeeping tool. Think of it like a bouncer's list at an exclusive club. It's a simple list that says you're allowed in, which also means everyone else is locked out. It's a digital velvet rope. And this is the gut punch moment. This is where the entire story just turns on a dime. Vera's realization is just devastating. Their starvation isn't a glitch. There's plenty of food. It's a deliberate coded command. They haven't been forgotten by the system. They have been actively excluded by it. And this visualizes it perfectly. The code itself is basically a map of the city's inequality. You've got the green zones for Sky City, full access. The yellow zones for the worker districts, partial access. And then down at the bottom, the red zones, the slums. And right there, for them, the parameter is set to 0. It is a digital wall, an absolute one. Okay, so what happens when the official system just erases you? When it pretends you don't even exist? Well, a whole new, desperate economy just rises from the ashes. This next part explores the brutal currency of survival in the slums, where people are forced to trade anything and everything just to see another day. Just take a look at this table. People are trading tiny digital scraps, things like gas credits or data fragments, for expired rations or a single packet of water. But it's that last line. That's what truly shows the horror of the reality. People are forced to sell their own memories, the very fabric of who they are, for a single meal. And if you thought that wasn't horrifying enough, the black market has its own twisted rules of value. The buyer, this merchant who deals in memories, says it plainly. Happy memories have higher liquidity. Your joy has become a commodity. Your trauma is a discount. It is the ultimate expression of a system that has stripped every last drop of value from humanity itself. May's story shows us just how precarious this existence is. She finds a workaround, cleaning data for a rich family in exchange for a temporary food pass, an NFT. but her survival depends entirely on their whim. The moment they revoke her access, she isn't just hungry again. She becomes unregistered, a non-person in the eyes of the system, just waiting to be removed.
So, pushed to his breaking point by what happened to May, our protagonist Aru decides he can't just fight the system, he has to break its fundamental rules. He attempts to create what the script calls an impossible block.
And this is the central challenge Aru faces, isn't it? When the very architecture of your world is built on your exclusion, how do you even begin to force it to see you? His answer is radical, and it comes at an unbearable price. So to get this, you really need to understand the cost. A normal transaction on the blockchain requires gas. That's a computational fee. But Aru has no currency. So to power his impossible transaction, to force the system to listen, he pays with the only thing he has left, his own neural energy, his life force. And Vera realizes the horrifying truth of what he's done. Aru didn't find a clever workaround. He didn't hack the system. He made himself the sacrifice. He staked his own existence to validate a single block on the chain, a block that carried a message of change. And the effect is immediate. For the first time ever, food terminals in the slums glow green. Drones, which had only ever flown right past them, now reroute to deliver rations. For a moment, the impossible happens. People eat. There's shock, there are tears, and then a fragile, fragile moment of hope. But just as we're sealing that sense of victory, the script delivers its final, stunning twist. Vera, she's analyzing the data from Aru's impossible block, and she discovers something that changes everything. Was this truly a rebellion? She traces the whitelist contract all the way back to the Genesis era, the very beginning of Neo-Kashi. Turns out, it was created after a food collapse to ensure only productive nodes were fed. But what Aru found wasn't a break or a hack. It was a hidden backdoor, written into the code from the very start. This line completely recontextualizes Aru's heroic sacrifice. His revolutionary act wasn't some unforeseen event. It was a contingency. It was a path laid out within the code, just waiting for someone desperate enough to walk it. So what Aru actually did was trigger a Genesis failsafe. He didn't break the rules. He fulfilled a hidden protocol. The system didn't fight him. It absorbed his action, processed it, and activated a new phase. He was a key, turning a lock he never even knew existed. And the story leaves us with this final, chilling thought from a ghostly, future version of Aru. The victory wasn't giving his people food for a day. No, the true outcome was making them visible to a system that had pretended they were invisible. And the question that just hangs in the air is a terrifying one. Now that the system knows you exist, what does it plan to do with you?